Friday, March 21st, 2025. We are in Sweetwater, Tennessee, and we're about to go on an epic adventure. It's called the Lost Sea. It is the largest underground lake in the country. Maybe in the world. I don't know. I have to look it up, but it's definitely the largest one in the country, maybe in the world. And apparently you have to walk like 3/4 of a mile, then you get in a boat and you go on this underground lake that's in a cave. And yeah, it should be pretty cool. I've never heard of anything like it. Definitely never seen anything like it. So we are definitely going to be checking that out. Hi there, how are you? So yeah, now I've just heard through the grapevine that coming back up climbing is like a 14-story up climb. So I'm already breathing heavy thinking about it. We'll be taking some pictures and videos along the way. All right, check in with you. All right, here we go. First part of the trip to the Lost Sea underground lake. They say it's a, I don't know, it's only 3/4 of a mile there and back. So we'll see. This is already pretty cool, the steel tube, concrete floor.
Go ahead and take a seat for me now.
All right, we're going to get a little information, so I'm going to pause right here. All right, we got our instructions, and we're moving on. So basically, don't litter, don't touch nothing, don't lick nothing, he said. I don't know, but this should be pretty cool. Heading on in. Kind of got to watch my footing here, so my filming might be a little erratic. It's kind of dark in here. This thing is this walkway kind of buckles under you a little bit. And it is extremely low ceiling here, especially for me. I'm going to have to pretty much crawl through here. Okay. Wow, this is crazy.
Onto the platform. Doesn't matter where you stand. Just so everybody can see it behind me. Now, everybody's first question usually is, how stable is that bridge? And my answer is always the same. Mostly. It is, built in 1964, and, probably last time it was checked was also 1964, so things were meant to last back then. That's all right. Now, if you do look up here, you are going to see the first formation that we look at today. So, this one is called the Cascades. Now, the Cascades gets its name because of the white formation at the bottom. Kind of looks like the Cascades waterfall. Now, that white formation is called flowstone. Flowstone is made out of calcium carbonate, which is used to make things like Tums, antacids, all that stuff that helps out with your heartburn. And we also have this amber-colored formation up here on the top. That is called drapery. Drapery is a type of iron oxide. All that means is it's a very pretty rust. One of the more pretty formations in our cave, but a lot of kids tell me it looks like a big strip of bacon, so we call it cave bacon here at the Lost Sea. Now, you can circle around, get a good look at that formation, and follow me right back over the bridge. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I hope you enjoy. I'm kidding, we're not. Tears. Now, the Vale of Tears gets its name because it's one of the more active formations in our cave, and it's constantly dripping towards the back. Now, it actually holds the 3 most common cave formations you'll find in any cave that you walk into. So the ones on the top, those are called stalactites. The ones on the bottom are called stalagmites. Now you can remember the names of those because stalactites, they hang tight to the ceiling, and stalagmites, they might grow up to those stalactites one day. You learned that in 5th grade. Now, what they didn't tell you is that these can actually grow together. So if they do that, they create this big pillar right over here on the left-hand side, which is scientifically called a stalactostalagmite. But I don't have a fancy way for you to remember that, so we're going to call that a column for the rest of the tour. Now, as we keep on going, make sure you are kind of watching your the council chamber room gets its name because in the 1820s, this whole cave and the land above it was actually owned by the Cherokee Native tribe of our area. Now, it was more specifically their chief, Cherokee Chief Craighead, who got the land to the Ocoee or Hiwassee land grant. And when he got that land, he'd bring his tribe down here. They were some of the first people in our cave, and they came down here for one reason, to hold meetings. Now, why would they hold meetings in a cave and not up on the surface? Well, if you can't tell, down here, it is 58 degrees year-round, no matter what it is outside. So it's always going to feel great down here, no matter what time of year it is. Now, about 100 years after the Cherokee were down here, in 1927, there'd be some teenagers to come into this room and find artifacts of the Cherokee. Things like arrowheads, pottery, jewelry, all this cool stuff that they had found they gave to the owners of the cave at the time, who then created our first glass showcase. Now, we do have a newer one now. It doesn't only hold things from the Cherokee anymore. It also holds things from the Civil War and even an ancient animal that we found down here. But more on those later. Now, there is one other thing that glass showcase does hold, and it's actually right up here. So these are going to be the rarest formations in our cave. They're called anthodites. Now, anthodites get their name from the Greek root anthos, which means flower. They do flower out like a dandelion does. Some people like to call them cave flowers, but again, they're crystals, not flowers. Now, they are some very rare crystals. They're only found in about 8 caves in the entire world. And just because we have them, it makes us a U.S. registered natural landmarker. Now, as they do grow here, we do know a little bit about them. We know they grow through evaporation, meaning water condensation gets on the outside of these alongside with calcium carbonate and a few other minerals, and it evaporates, which takes a very, very long time, as they have the slowest growth rate in our cave of about a cubic centimeter every 1,000 years. And that's why you don't touch them, because it also means they're the most expensive thing in our cave. Just touching them, because the oils on our fingers causes them to die, is a $5,500 fine per centimeter that you touch. It's a lot of money, so don't look at them too long, don't breathe on them, and God forbid, do not lick them. Now, as we keep going, I make sure you are watching your head for these low-hanging stalactites. Please take a chunk out of your head and your back.
All right, we are approaching water, it looks like. We are pretty far down. We've been steady going down here for, I don't know, over a quarter mile. Nope, I thought it was water. I guess it's not. This thing is huge. Let's see if I can get a shot of this sign here.
Alright, so this room we're in right now, this is called the Hanging Rock Chamber, named after all the hanging bedrock pennants that you see on the ceiling. Now, those pennants actually got there from when the whole cave was full of water. Now, keep in mind, that's how the cave was formed, was through water erosion. So water would have filled it to the top, and a bunch of earthquakes caused whirlpools. But this room was a little special, because this whirlpool was not formed by an earthquake, it was formed by rushing water. So there was 2 water springs that fed into this room. That way we just came in was one of them, and then this big hole right up here was the second. They fed in and collided right up here in the middle. Now, when they collided, it created a whirlpool, like I was saying, but that whirlpool was a lot bigger than the average whirlpool in here. It just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, till not only eventually eroded out the room itself, but it also stripped the roof of everything but the bedrock, leaving just these pennants behind. Now, if you do look up here behind me, you are going to see the entrance to our big room. Now, we are not going in the big room today, but it is the second largest room in our cave, and it's held quite a few things in its time, such as the natural entrance to our cave. Yeah, yellow tunnel, not the natural entrance. That was put there in 1964 because it made getting down here a lot easier. Now, the actual natural entrance is 132 uneven, 45-degree cut clay steps. So you're welcome for putting in the big yellow tunnel. Now also back there in 1939, we would find this 90-foot deep pit. Didn't think anything of it, right? Till about 1940, when scientists would go to the bottom of said pit and discover Pleistocene jaguar remains, or ancient jaguar bones. Now, the Pleistocene era is anywhere from about 500,000 to 2.5 million years ago, and we took these bones, sent them off to a museum in New York called the Museum of Natural History. They sent us back a few things, such as a face and a paw print of that jaguar, which we still have to this day. They're up in the glass showcase in the lobby, but they also sent us an estimate of how big this jaguar really was. 500 plus pounds and over 8 feet long, not including the tail. That's a big jaguar. And after finding that, you think, hey, you need to keep looking for bones, artifacts, anything else that's going to help with our historical prevalence, and you'd be absolutely dead wrong, because you're in deep southeast Tennessee, not how we work down here. We opened up 7 years later as an underground, speakeasy, illegal moonshine bar called the Cavern Tavern. Now, when the Cavern Tavern opened up, it had 3 authentic Tennessee moonshine stills, 3 dance floors, and a live band that played on the weekends. People came down here, tried to get drunk, dance around, have a good time. Only problem was they weren't getting drunk at all. Here's why. Atmospheric pressure, humidity, temperatures. Now, those 3 factors allow you to drink up to 3 times your limit down here and not feel a thing till you get back up to the surface. They didn't know that back in 1947. They thought they were being sold cheap moonshine, decided they were going to leave. They didn't have a yellow tunnel or a handsome tour guide to tell them otherwise, so they went back up those steps where the higher they got, started to pass out towards the top, fell right back down, human domino effect, and closed the Cavern Tavern 2 short months after opening. Now, as it closed down, we kept those moonshine stills. We still have them to this day. One you'll see later in our tour, one's in front of our general store being used as a flower pot, and then the third one did mysteriously burn up in a maintenance fire in the 90s. Sure. All right, now in the 50s and 60s, we would open up as a bomb shelter. So when we opened up, we had enough supplies at that time to feed 20,000 people for 2 whole weeks. Now, obviously, we don't have that many anymore. We got rid of most of them. But the ones you see down here are from that time. So the tins to the left, they hold 70-year-old saltine crackers, and then the barrels to the right, 70-year-old drinking water. Yeah, delicious, I know. All right, now if you could, get towards the middle of the room with the group or family that you came with, and turn off any or all light sources that you have. We're about to...
The Devil's Hole. They don't know how deep it is.
Now that water at the bottom, it's a little misleading. It looks shallow. That's because of how clear it is. It is not shallow. That is 4.5 feet deep. Yeah. Now keep going. Down here to the right.
Waterfall 300 feet below the surface of the ground. Crazy. An actual old moonshine still from the day. It's crazy. We are seriously descending here. They say it's a 7-story descent, and we got to come back up this, so I'm breathing hard already thinking about it. All right, here we are, about 400 feet under the ground. There's a freaking big old lake here. Wow. Water. Unbelievable. This is crazy. Wow.
They can put it on now. I'd say they'd probably put it on. We got Polly.
They'll probably wait until this top bar hits good.
It's probably 40, 50 feet straight up.
That's real bad. The thing is, though, is they don't even have it not good down here.
And there's still like, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 feet to the bottom of the water. So It's a pretty high cave.
All right, everybody, so before I can let you up here, there are boat rules that we do have to go over. Number one being this is a floating boat dock. It will move around. It'll shift with your weight. Don't freak out. It's supposed to happen. Now, as we go to get onto the boat, there can be a gap that forms between the boat and the dock. In that gap, the lake. Step over it, not in it, because if you step in it, I'm going to laugh at you, pull you out, put you on the dock, and make you try again. Practice makes perfect. Now, once we get onto the boats, go all the way to the end. Take a seat. Don't stand up. If you stand up, you increase your chance of being thrown off of our boat ride. If you somehow miraculously get thrown off of a 2.5 mile per hour boat ride while sitting down, grab your seat cushion. It doubles as a flotation device. If you can't grab one on the way out, I will throw you one. Just yell out your favorite color. They come in all varieties of colors. Things like red, blue,
Yes, thank you.
red and blue. As long as your favorite color is red or blue, I can throw you one. If you want purple, you're in luck. I'll throw you one of each. Now, also, do not dangle anything of importance over the side. Things such as, but not limited to, phones, wallets, car keys, glasses, purses, bags, cameras, small children, hopes, and dreams. Because if it hits the water, not kicking or screaming, I'm not going in after it. Neither are you. The best we're going to do is take out my flashlight, shine it at your now sinking iPhone right over here, and watch it sink to the bottom together. We'll call that a bonding moment. Nobody wants the lost sea bonding moment, so hold on to all your things. And finally, don't touch the water. We have fish. They have teeth. They will bite you. They think your fingers are food, so do not test our rainbow trout. Question.
Like rainbow trout.
Nothing at all? All right.
We have a rainbow
Now, we have about 400 rainbow trout in here. All right, now, we are quite a large group, which means we're not fitting on one boat comfortably. We'd have to cuddle up, which, you know, some of you are cool with, but a lot of you are not. So, we're taking out 2 different boat rides. Half of y'all are going with Wyatt over here, and then the rest of you are stuck with me. So terribly sorry. And to do that evenly, biggest group's got to come up first. Do we have any groups of 5 or more people in their party? How many? 10.
For rainbow trouts, absolutely.
All right, I'm trying to be a little bit quiet here, but
That's actually one up in the
this is like being, we're in a boat. We haven't left the dock yet,
made the groundbreaking discovery.
but
Trevor was a
this is eerie. I mean, we're way underground, and when you look up at the lights hitting the ceiling, it looks like you're just on a lake at night with clouds.
Tell us about getting the boat, like building the boats down here.
It's crazy.
That was easy. Chuck Norris, whole lot of Vaseline. But if you don't believe that, 3 separate pieces. I had to help carry most of it down. We went over here onto this Clay Beach area, and we had welders weld them together. Now, that took a lot longer than you think it would because they can't just weld it all at once. I mean, down here, if you weld all of it at once, welding fumes get into the air, and that causes a bunch of things to just die. So they had to do it very slowly in multiple different parts just to weld one little weapon. So yeah, it took about a year to get all these boats completely finished and put in. Now, these are newer boats. We had glass bottom boats. I know what everybody thinks, you know, glass bottom, why don't you have them anymore? Mostly because, well, they were 40 years old. We've had 3 different types. The first one was completely glass bottom, had from 1965 all the way to about 1982. And we got rid of those because of a very prominent movie that came out in 1982. Can anybody guess what that was?
Jaws.
Jaws, yeah, people were scared of the Jaws movie, thought a megalodon was going to come eat them through glass and fresh water. So they got scared of those, and we ended up moving over to a glass strip boat. Had a strip of plexiglass, went down the middle. Those were 40 years old, started to spring leaks, and they were very hard to clean. You had to get under the boat and clean them. So we just moved over to these, and these you actually face outwards. Those you face towards the glass. So these you actually see the lake in all of its beauty. There's
We have taken off in the boat.
How much water is this?
God said it's 2.5 mile an hour max speed. And that this lake gets up to 75 feet deep. Never thought I'd be taking a boat ride 300-400 feet below the surface of the earth.
Mommy, there's some fishes. See that fishy?
It'd be like cocaine. Like one of those movies you don't expect to get.
This is amazing. There's some fish. He said they're rainbow trout.
They don't look like
300-400 feet below the surface in a lake looking at fish. Didn't know that was possible. Look at them all. Whoa. Man, look at that.
Follow us. Mommy, look how close that one is.
He looks delicious.
Look at all of them.
Oh my goodness.
As I feed them and they get rowdy, don't be scared if they jump. They do jump. Now keep in mind, they will not jump in the boat. Last time one jumped in the boat was about 22 years ago, 2003. When a fish did jump in the boat, a lady named Linda beat that fish so bad with her purse, no, the fish was brave enough to do it ever again. So she ended up taking it, putting it in her purse, and refused to leave without it. Quite frankly, too scared to tell her no. So she left with our fish, gave us a formal complaint the next day telling us how bad they taste. Beef liver and dog food, that's it.
Oh my God, there's a ton of them.
This is crazy. Now the ceiling's only maybe 20 feet above our head, if that. So he's chumming the water and they're all just coming.
Yeah.
There's so much fish.
Look at them all.
Big hurt too.
Amazing.
Fishy, fishy. Look at this.
Look at them all. I think he said there's like over 400 of them in here.
There's a lot of fish.
They're hitting.
There's a lot of
It's hitting the bottom of the boat. You hear it?
No, it was a kid, I think.
You were kicking it?
No, I think it was this kid
Oh.
standing up. Yeah.
That's so cool.
There's a lot of fish.
Just kind of doing donuts out here while he feeds them. Said the water temperature stays 66 degrees. The cave stays 58-degree air temperature all year.
Conceptions about our fish. A lot of tour guides in the past would say that they were blind and albino and see-through and x-ray and eyeless and everything else. That would give them an extra tip because y'all believe everything we say. But no, they're not blind or albino. Those are usually the biggest ones. A lot of people think our fish go blind because they're in a cave, but they're not going to go blind. The only reason they would go blind is either genetic mutation, which they don't reproduce, so that one gets ruled out, or if they were blind because of the lights being out. The lights are not out. They can see just fine. They don't go albino, quite simply, you cannot go albino, not how that works. And if you see a see-through, x-ray, or an eyeless fish, you're somewhere you shouldn't be, like Oak Ridge or Chernobyl, so let's hope not. If you don't know what Oak Ridge is, well, it's a place in here in Tennessee that's just like The Simpsons, so not too, the people are too. Had somebody from Oak Ridge get a little mad about that joke one time, looked up to me with all three of their eyes.
That's a lot of fish. Is it
Nuclear.
100?
We're the first atomic bombs tested. Trevor, 1,000-mile radius blast windows. Drake starts growing on all these new and moist surfaces, meaning all that started growing as soon as the rockfall happened. Broke a few pieces off, about 2,000 years old apiece. Also have the upside down backward state of Florida right out there. And then we have Bessie the milking cow. That is our most active stalactite. Drips roughly 40 times a minute. If you got dripped on, raise your hand. If you did, that's a good thing. Called a Caves Kiss. It's supposed to give you a year of good luck per drip. If you did, don't feel too bad. It's also directly underneath the men's restrooms. We're actually underneath the foresty area, kind of next to that parking lot. A Chevy Tahoe. Anybody here drive a Chevy Tahoe? I get them. Now, if you do look up, those really thin stalactites you're seeing right back up here, those are called soda straw stalactites. Now they're like the regular ones, just completely hollow, and the reason they're hollow is a bubble that forms in them as they grow. You could break one off, use it as a straw, or $500 straw. You can make your drink taste like rust, not for a minute, unless you're drinking Sprite out of a can. It tastes the same. It used to be a Pepsi Coke, one of our sponsors. Drapery starts growing on all these new and moist surfaces, meaning all that started growing as soon as the rockfall happened. Broke a few pieces off, about 2,000 years old a piece. Also have the upside down backward state of Florida right out there. And then we have Bessie the milking cow. That is our most active stalactite. Drips roughly 40 times a minute. If you got dripped on, raise your hand. If you did, that's a good thing. Called a Caves Kiss. It's supposed to give you a year of good luck per drip. If you did, don't feel too bad. It's also directly underneath the men's restrooms. We're actually underneath the foresty area, kind of next to that parking lot. A Chevy Tahoe. Anybody here drive a Chevy Tahoe? I get them. Now, if you do look up, those really thin stalactites you're seeing right back up here, those are called soda straw stalactites. Now they're like the regular ones, just completely hollow, and the reason they're hollow is a bubble that forms in them as they grow. You could break one off, use it as a straw, or $500 straw. You can make your drink taste like rust, not for a minute, unless you're drinking Sprite out of a can. It tastes the same. It used to be a Pepsi Coke, one of our sponsors.
Hey, I want to thank you for watching this video. You'll have to forgive the quality of it. I was watching my footing. I was trying not to drop the camera in the water or over the edge. Yeah, not try to hit my head and cut myself open. But hope you enjoyed the video. To me, it was an epic adventure, and I hope to do a lot more. Thanks.